Happy Friday, March 19th, 2021. Welcome to the 3 things I learned in Saas Sports Tech and Lab events. Number 1, your job is not your identity. Not for any of us. When I grew up, I played very high-level volleyball. I played for Nike, and then I played for USC, and then I played for the under-20 United States team, and both my sisters played volleyball too. My dad, who was not an athlete, would reinforce all the time around the house that you are not a volleyball player. That is something that you do. It is not your identity, and I didn't realize how valuable that was for a while. But once I got to college and started to mature, I started to understand what he meant. That he was trying to expand what I was doing, expanding my interests, and also protect me for putting all my eggs into one basket and identifying myself as something that I wasn't, that it was just something that I did. Fast forward to my career, when I started TicketManager with my co-founders, we took that personally. It was our identity that we were these founders. And then, when you add in what happens when we talk about the arena and the quote we saw last year at the NCAA, when you aspire to do great and big things, you have detractors. And those detractors get in your ear. And they start to make you question your own value and your own worth because you're starting to over-identify yourself by something you're putting so much time into. I understand how hard it is to start a career. I understand how hard it is to start a business. When you're doing it, don't fall into the trap that I did and let it identify who you are as a person, because it is not. It's just something that you are doing for work. That's number 1. Number 2, don't ignore their process. So we have a lot of creative ways that we're trying to reach new prospects, especially in our business when we're selling to the enterprise, and you might be doing the same to the enterprise or SMB. And every now and then you'll run into somebody who says, our process is this supplier portal or this generic inbox. And it feels like a blow-off. I'm here to tell you that our first large customer in 2009 came from a generic inbox. It went into procurement. Procurement then was looking for projects that could help them save money. Turned out that we matched one of their needs. They became one of our biggest customers and have been since then, still renewing. And then 2 years later, maybe 3 years later, I got a call from a Fortune 50 company. Same thing. I had filled out a supplier portal 2 years prior. Didn't think anything about it. I was watching TV. I just filled it out. And they called and became, at the time, our biggest customer. There are a lot of different creative ways we can reach out to people who are prospective buyers. But don't ignore what their process is. They put that in place for a reason. You might actually get some customers out of it. That's number 2. And finally, number 3, great teammates are great because they're great. They're super nice, they're authentic, they're people we want to be around, and they're generally nice to people. I mean, there's some that aren't, but in general, they're very nice to people, and that leads to optimism. But it does bring out a hiring flaw. When they are hiring, they tend to know that they are good and want to help people more than maybe they should. And that does create a flaw because instead of evaluating for who could be the absolute best at that job, they look at somebody that they really like who can almost get there, and sometimes they take on a little bit too much in trying to fix everybody around them. We have an easy hack here that actually helps us get through that conversation where we stop as a group and we're doing our final evaluation. We say, listen, it's the end of the game. That person has the ball in their hand. How do you feel about their ability to make the buzzer-beating shot? Are you rooting for them and saying, golly gee, I hope Tony can do it? Or are you saying, that's the person that I wanted. That's why they're here. Let's see the chips fall where they may. That's number 3 for this week, and it's really helped us in our hiring process. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next week on The 3 Things.